any packed product, or just a normal gist of what all things we need in our normal, let's say, in our lifestyle to make our lifestyle a little healthier. So over to you, Jayashree.
Absolutely. So welcome everyone. I'm really happy to see so many people are there on Sunday morning. So definitely in terms of understanding today's topic, we are going to have a slight discussion about World Food Day. So it's quite very important for us that food is something that is very crucial in our part of life, right? Without food, it becomes difficult for a person to function. Without food, it's difficult for a person to do its daily chores. And food is our basic necessity. Along with your shelter, along with your food, along with your daily requirements, food is something that is really very essential. So this World Health Day, World Food Day that we have been celebrating, it was on October 16th. Yes. So we have been preparing very simple things that we can try focusing on why food is a necessity and what are the basic changes that we can try focusing on our diet, focusing on our regular routine that is going to have in a good control of our overall health. So Anuja, I'll be just presenting my screen. You can just let me know if my screen is coming clearly. Okay.
Sure.
Just give me a minute. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes. Yes, it's visible.
Perfect, perfect. Right. So as we were discussing World Food Day, just for us to understand, nourishing our body is the best way to flourish our entire body in terms of our mind, in terms of our regular routine. And food is definitely a right for all, right? Making sure that each and every food in terms of availability should be available to everyone. So that's why we are talking about food being available to everyone is what is the motto, is what is the theme in terms of this year's World Food Day. Okay, we're not only celebrating the importance of nutrients, importance of nutrition, but making sure the entire world, meaning globally, having in a good effect in terms of working endlessly to reduce in the hunger, promoting any kind of sustainable agriculture, right? That is what is going to be making sure to raise in the awareness about food security. That's what we're going to have in a detailed discussion. So, starting along with what is the major key objective that every time we focus on World Food Day? First thing, I'm pretty much sure many people would be aware there are certain parts in the world that people go in terms of hunger. They don't get availability of food. The scarcity is way too high. Hunger rate is way too high. People are dying in terms of malnourishment, and the cases still are there. The poverty line is, in particular areas, the poverty line is still too high. So the first key objective that we always be focusing on is the eradication of hunger, accessibility of food to everyone. If the food is available to everyone, that's where we're going to make sure that the eradication of hunger is well under control. That's the first objective. Second thing, which is quite very important for us to understand, is food nowadays that we're getting, we're not so very sure whether it is going to be in good control of having in a proper organic food, or you do not know whether it is going to have in good sustainability. Because food nowadays, there are going to be high content in terms of insecticides, pesticides, your genetically modified crops. They're high in terms of all of a higher exposure to all of these products. So we don't know about the sustainability of the agriculture that we're getting these days, right? The food that you were getting 50, 60 years back is not the same. The nutrients that we're actually getting these days, it's definitely not the same, right? So focusing on a eco-friendly like doing any kind of a farming, encouraging all of these small local stores is what something that we need to be focusing on, right? Organic foods, or you can definitely start something as your kitchen gardening or your own small kitchen gardening that is going to have, good sustainability to agriculture. But at least you are having in a good idea of what you're actually preparing, what you're actually growing in terms of your produce. Okay. Another most important key objective that we always be focusing is going to be on the food wastage. I just wanted to understand how many of you, when you're going to a party or you're going to a restaurant, how many of you try completing in the entire meal? Or how many of you have in the tendency कि पेट तो भर गया है, remaining of the food हम ऐसे ही, we are going to leave it as it is. Have you ever wondered कि it's just a small portion? You must be seeing that it's just a small portion. But along with you, there are so many other people, and आप actually idea भी लगा सकते हैं how much of the food wastage is actually happening. And it's not on a daily, it's actually on a daily basis when we consider it. So we can just do a small initiative. अगर you are completely filled and the food is actually remaining, आप pack करवा लीजिए. Either you can take it home, or either what you can at least do is you can try to give it to the stray animals. You can definitely try giving it to the needy people. At least यहाँ पर we are having in a good amount of a balance in terms of hunger eradication, and the food is also not getting wasted, right? Food is definitely the right to everyone, and we are trying to eliminate the hunger process, right? And the last and most important thing, try opting for local food support. Okay, locally available foods, seasonally available fruits. Try helping and try getting in your vegetables, try getting in your groceries from small scale farmers. Okay, because they are much more fresher. I know, like, you're going to your supermarket, sometimes you do pay in a little extra, but just getting from these small vendors is also going to be supporting them, help in terms, plays in an important vital role in terms of having in a good global food security. Okay, matlab, you're having the nature and the tendency to get food for each and every individual. The local food is the best way that you can always support, and everyone has the chance to get in food on a regular basis. So this is the major key objective. Every World Food Day, the entire nation, the entire global community are focusing on these four major key objectives, right? Now, when we are having in a discussion about the major contribution, Anuja, are you able to see my next screen? Next slide?
Yes,
No, I think I missed one slide. Just give me a minute.
I guess.
I think you're able to see in the food coma. Just give me a minute.
The badger.
Yeah. Yes. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So now just wanted to have a deep discussion in terms of understanding about food coma. Okay. Now we'll first try to understand what exactly is this food coma, because it's quite important for us to know whenever we are having enough food. How many of you have in this tendency after having in your food, you feel extremely drowsy, you feel extremely low in terms of energy? I think this happens most of the time. When we have in a large meal, we just want to do nothing but just take in a small nap. And the major contribution, and this is what is called as food coma, meaning you're having in your food and instantly you're having in a large portion of your food. And when the food is high in terms of your carbohydrates, this causes your body to enter into the drowsiness phase. And the common experience that you observe कि आपका energy और alertness काफी ज्यादा गिर जाती है. And because of that, what happens is, whenever we are having in a check of our energy levels, that completely drops down. And at this point of time, the blood flow towards your digestion rate is pretty much higher, right? Whenever you're having in your food, the digestion has to happen. और ये digestion होने के लिए, you need a good amount of blood supply, you need a good amount of blood flow towards your digestive tract. And this is where the amount of the blood which is going towards your brain slowly comes to drop down. And that's why you feel in low in terms of energy. And you feel very much letharginess after having in a very heavy meal, right? So the major symptoms that, as we have been discussing, is low in terms of energy. The letharginess is going to be seen. Alertness is also going to drop down. And you will be having a slight mild dizziness, which is going to be quite very common. And this particularly happens in terms of your food coma. Okay. And when we're looking in terms how we can try to prevent it, always we'll remember one thing, as Anuja had also mentioned in the beginning, making sure that you eat at least up to 80% of your stomach being full. जब आप overload लेते हैं in terms of food, that causes in the difficulty for the stomach to digest at one rate. So बहुत ज़्यादा energy, बहुत ज़्यादा blood flow has to rush towards your centric part, that is going to be your stomach, right? So यहाँ पर the energy in the body also drops down. The amount of blood flow that is there in the brain also slowly drops down. So the best way आप कैसे इस food coma को prevent कर सकते हैं? First thing is going to be trying to avoid any kind of your refined food. Whenever you're having in your meal, right? आप ज़्यादातर prefer कर लीजिए आपकी whole grains or your unpolished grains, unpolished food. So these are going to take in a good amount of satiety rate, ठीक है? और ये आपका sugar levels को भी काफी ज़्यादा balance करती है. अब food coma में ज़्यादातर क्या होती है? Whenever you're having in your food, which is going to be high in terms of proportion, carbohydrates जब ज़्यादा रहती है, instantly आपका sugar level shoot up हो जाती है. Okay? Have you ever seen in how the roller coaster generally works? Roller coaster immediately shoots up and immediately crashes down, right? So immediately जब shoot up होती है, this is the peak point. That is why you feel extremely low in terms of energy. You feel that the carbohydrate ratio was too high. तो यहाँ पर क्या होती है? The sugar levels also shoot up. Okay. So just to avoid the maximum shoot, to avoid going into that food coma stage, always make sure that you're avoiding as much as your refined carbohydrates. Or prefer करेंगे in terms of your whole grains. That's the first important thing. Second thing is focusing on more on your lean based protein, focusing more on your legumes based protein. I'm sure कि everyone is already trying to follow this 25, 25, 50% of the meal plate method, जहां पर हम 25% हम रखते हैं for your lean based protein. The remaining 5 we keep it for the carbohydrates, and the entire 50% we load it up along with your fiber, we load it up along with your vegetables. So this creates in a proper ratio, a proper proportion to avoid in the food coma. Because whenever the portion of the carbohydrates go a little extra, specifically on the Sundays, we always have this tendency कि Sunday को थोड़ा extra खाते हैं, and post the Sunday we always have the tendency to go to sleep after your lunch. So just to avoid this, creating in a proper ratio in terms of food is quite very important here. Okay, so the most important balance is going to be good amount of your lean based proteins. It can be your chicken, it can be your fish, it can be your egg whites if you're a non-vegetarian source. Plant source में अगर हम देखेंगे, you can definitely go along with your soya based products, you can go along with your definitely your legumes, your chickpeas, आपका राजमा, your छोले के options. You can also go along with your tofu. So they are good portion in terms of your protein when we are having a discussion. And this does not create in the drowsiness. जब आप बैलेंस रखते हैं आपके प्रोटीन्स और फाइबर में, ये आपका पोस्ट मील शुगर लेवल्स को काफी ज्यादा रिड्यूस करती है. और पोस्ट मील लेवल्स अगर बैलेंस आउट रहती है, you don't feel that letharginess post your meal, right? And the last most important thing is focusing on including good amount of your salads, focusing on including good amount of your fiber. जितने सारे आपके green leafy vegetables हो, आपका colorful vegetables हो, make sure that you're introducing that in your diet. At least keeping 40 to 50% in the meal really helps in terms of curbing down your hunger. क्योंकि जब आप पहले salads या फिर पहले आप अच्छा portion of vegetables ले लेते हैं, that increases in terms of our overall stomach capacity. और साथ साथ आपका portion जो खाने के proportion लेते हैं, like for example you have been taking 3 rotis earlier, you're starting along with a good portion of your vegetables, automatically आपका रोटी का proportion नीचे आएगा, and automatically this is going to prevent in the food coma, right? So this is a good alternative that we can try opting for to have in a good control and preventing in your food coma. Another most good overcoming techniques that we can try focusing to avoid food coma Number one is going to be prefer on small and frequent meals. इतना ज़्यादा frequent नहीं रखेंगे, but we can always we can always make sure having in your food in a balanced proportion size and eat when you're hungry. Okay? Don't always have the tendency ki we are going to eat constantly, but eat when you're hungry. But it does mean that अगर हम ये balance out कर रखेंगे, this is going to help in terms of maintaining आपका energy का levels and reducing the risk of your food coma. Also, along with this, we'll remember that you're eating slowly and mindfully. So when you're chewing in your food, chew your food properly, make sure that there is a good digestion rate along with it. Avoid any kind of your distractions. This is quite very important to balance it out here. Okay? And listen to your body. Agar aap 80%, 75 to 80% is what, when you're doing in a mindful eating, so your body itself, you are going to identify ki I am almost full. So यहाँ पर we can definitely stop winding up our food options. Try drinking up your water and the meal is complete here. So be mindful in terms of your eating here. Also, the meal timing is really very important. We always focus on having an early meal option, right? Early dinner. जब भी आप early dinners रखते हैं, this is going to give you a good duration in terms of your meal timing and your bedtime. अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा heavy dinner कर लेते हैं, how many of you would have noticed कि नींद काफी ज्यादा डिस्टर्ब रहती है in terms of sleep, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा heavy हो जाती है पेट, बहुत ज्यादा एनर्जी in terms of low in terms of energy कभी कभार महसूस होती है. Not too much of drowsiness, laziness at that point you will feel, but too much of stomach upset या फिर too much of pain in the stomach you will be also noticing. So always make sure timing is proper and food का जो proportion है ये हम balance out कर रखेंगे. Okay? Another good option is post your meals, we can try introducing in a small natural digestive option in terms of aid. आपका ginger हो गया, ginger water हो गया, it can be a fennel seed, it can be a jeera water, it can be a peppermint. So just a small take up post your meals you can definitely take to have a good digestion rate, which will also help in terms of overcoming your food coma. Okay, क्योंकि digestion अगर better रहेगी, you will not have that too much of difficulty in terms of having any kind of distractions to your body. Okay, and also another thing that really works is do not skip in your breakfast. You would have noticed अगर आप breakfast को skip करते हैं, you always have the tendency to eat a little extra for your lunch hours because you're way too hungry here. Okay, so anything or whenever we skip in our meal, this always has in a tendency to feel much more hungry at the next meal. So make sure that a small proportion of our meal is always being taken during the breakfast time. Or breakfast may always introducing in a good portion of your proteins and fiber is really very important. इसीलिए we always given and start along with taking in, be it either morning के time पर you can start along with a scrambled egg, or you can go along with a moong based chila, you can start along with a grain free option besan का chila. So you're starting along with a good portion of your protein, और उसमें ढेर सारे आप fiber, ढेर सारे vegetables भी add कर सकते हैं. So which is going to have in a good balance in terms of your morning sugars. लंच के टाइम पर भी आपको काफी ज्यादा भूख नहीं लगेगा where you are having in a tendency, अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा ले रहे तो you're again entering into that food coma stage. Okay, and when you're taking this digestive aids, जैसे we have been discussing about your ginger water, your peppermint, or be it any kind of your jeera water, this helps in terms of improving in your digestive enzymes. आपके बॉडी में whenever we are having food, right, there are certain amount of digestive enzymes that is being produced. और अगर हम ये regular basis पर लेते हैं, this is going to have a good digestive rate to overcome any kind of your food coma stage. Anuja, I think right now in terms of hangry, many people generally what happens is when they skip in their meal, they start getting too very angry. So let's try to understand the link between being angry and being hungry.
So before starting and explaining you the link between angry and hungry, I want to know from every one of you. Have you ever felt that you're unusually irritated or angry, and then you figured out this is just happening because I'm hungry a lot? Is it like that? You can just type in yes or no into the chat box. That's completely fine. Yes, yes, I can see many yes coming in for this thing. So yes, this happens because this is the science which we are going to talk about now is hangry, our anger plus the hunger. Okay, next slide, Jayashree, please.
Yes.
So it is not just an emotion, basically. It had something to do with our blood sugar levels. Okay, so we sometimes feel ki why I'm feeling this irritated. I could have something. Or let's say if you had a large meal, let's say if you had a lunch and after 1 or 2 hours you are again feeling that anger or hunger. That is just because that's a response of your blood sugar levels. So basically, after we eat food, okay, there is a glucose from our carbohydrates that enters bloodstream. Okay, that glucose provides the energy to our brain and our body for their functions. Okay, during this process, our pancreas releases insulin to help glucose to enter the cells. Okay, over the time, the body use up this glucose from the meal that we have got, and the blood sugar levels declines naturally. Okay, and due to this fluctuation of the blood sugar level, we get this hunger pangs, or that we called as we get very irritated and we feel a lot hungry. And during this time, what I have seen is we end up eating high carbohydrate snack because our brain needs that glucose supply steadily. Okay, and that is why the science of hungry is important for us to understand. Okay, तो मैं ये समझा रही थी शालिनी जी, अभी आपने यहाँ पे लिखा है, हिंदी में बताया इसलिए बता रही हूँ कि जब भी हम कुछ खाते हैं तो ग्लूकोज जो होता है कार्बोहाइड्रेट से हमारे पहले ब्लड स्ट्रीम में एंटर करता है, उसके बाद वो हमारे बॉडी के सारे फंक्शनिंग के लिए हेल्प करता है। ठीक है, साइड बाय साइड पैंक्रियाज इंसुलिन रिलीज कर रहा है सो दैट ये सेल्स से ये ग्लूकोज यूटिलाइज हो पाए। ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम क्या होता है, ये ग्लूकोज हमारी बॉडी से यूटिलाइज हो चुका है। ओके, और इसके लिए हमारा ब्लड शुगर लेवल ड्रॉप करना चालू करता है। और ये ड्रॉप करने के समय जो हमको भूख लगती है या जो इरिटेबिलिटी होती है या चिड़चिड़ होती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज साइंस ऑफ हैंग्री, बिकॉज आपका ब्रेन उस टाइम पे आपको वापस थोड़ा सा ग्लूकोज मांग रहा है टू फंक्शन, बिकॉज ब्रेन स्टडीली नीड्स द ग्लूकोज फॉर द फंक्शनिंग। तो उसके लिए it needs a good amount of let's say healthy food, so that ये जो steady supply है ग्लूकोज का वो ब्रेन को होता रहे और इतना फ्लक्चुएशन हमारे शुगर्स में ना आए। दिस इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू सी नेक्स्ट। सो how we get to know that we are basically, what are the biological symptoms that we get usually? There is hunger signals we get. ठीक है, हम इमोशनली भी थोड़े से इरिटेटेड हो जाते हैं, वी आर नॉट एबल टू फोकस। Okay, we are not able to focus on work, we are not able to do any of the remaining activities that are there. Okay, sometimes it happens that our cognitive function of also gets impaired due to this thing. So it is very important that basically to understand, if our low blood sugar levels are low, our brain's energy is going to be low, you are going to feel hungry a lot, and you will be ending up eating a lot more carbohydrate rich food. Okay, there are some hormonal responses also. So basically there is one hormone called cortisol. Increase in the blood sugar, let's say to increase the blood sugar, the activity of this cortisol can also increases, and that also might lead to a little more irritability, and there can be an emotional outburst when you're hungry. Next, Jayashri.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I tried to explain you in the first slide itself, that when we eat food, it basically the glucose goes into the bloodstream, we utilize it for our daily functioning, our brain utilizes it while we are working or doing any activity, and after that it slowly starts depleting, and that leads to various changes into your mood, day-to-day activity. It can hamper your day-to-day activity as well. And there are changes into your hormones, as I right now told you, cortisol and insulin, because insulin is going to help you utilize the glucose more, and the cortisol activity is going to release the cortisol in our body a lot if we are, let's say, in a irritated or angry mood. Next stage. Yeah. So these are the symptoms that we usually get. So emotional symptoms, as I said, can be irritability. We can get very angry soon. Then difficulty in regulating the emotions that can be seen. And the patience level of individual can decline after, feeling this hangriness. Then the physical symptoms obviously can be fatigue, lightheadedness, dizziness. Some people can also feel headache. It is not seen in every individual who feel hangriness, and difficulty in concentrating also is obviously going to be there. Then what can trigger this hangriness? If you are, let's say, if you anytime feel that, I am currently very hungry and that is making me very irritated, just review your day. Are you skipping any meal? Are you having a prolonged fasting? Are you having a have you done any high activity? And have you given your body a good recovery after that through the food, through the proteins, and our underlying medical conditions? These can be some triggers for this hangriness. We need to find out what has been wrong in that throughout the day. Okay? Next, Jayashree. Okay. How we can manage this or hunger for that matter, when it comes to balancing out the hangriness. Okay. The first thing what we have to do is the very important thing, like that is not mentioned here, is avoiding all the sugary and refined foods, because that is one thing that gives your sugar level a high spike, and it brings down your sugar levels very immediately. So the fluctuation of the blood sugar is very haywire when it comes to refined and sugary foods, and that can lead to let's say anger and irritability during your day. So first thing to do is avoiding sugary and refined products. Second is, yes, eat regular meals. So do not skip your meals. As Jayashree said, someone has asked into the chat though that they are doing intermittent fasting and they are skipping the breakfast. So my suggestion would be delaying the meal is little better than skipping the meal. So you can delay your breakfast, but do not skip your breakfast, because you will, yes, end up eating higher calorie in the lunch for sure. So eating on a regular basis, eating on a regular intervals, if you are feeling this hangriness, it's very important to prevent the blood sugar to drop. So that is one thing. Again, eating is important, but what we are eating is also important. So make sure that you will have good amount of complex carbohydrates into your meal, which will help us release the glucose slowly into the bloodstream. Then include protein, fats, and fibers into that meal, which will help the steady glucose levels and prevent the sudden drops. Okay, to maintain a steady glucose level, just not carbohydrate is going to help us. We'll have to add good amount of protein source, fiber source, and healthy fats with that, so that you are able to maintain the sugars well. Then if you are skipping meals, what can happen is prolonged low blood sugar will take place into your body. Okay, and that is again likely to increase your hangriness. Okay, then yes, exercise regularly. If you are exercising regularly, make sure to give your body a good amount of protein and a small complex carbohydrate meal after that, if you are already having the hangriness. Okay, because if you are not giving recovery for your body after the exercise, you are again going to, there is again going to be a drop in your blood sugar levels, and the hangriness feeling will increase. Get enough sleep, very important. Many a times we don't give that much importance to our sleep and our stress levels, but this is one thing that can have an impact on your day, like throughout your day. If your sleep is not well, if you haven't had a good sleep, So next day you also feel that your mood is not good, you are not able to concentrate on your work, then you're throughout the day you are irritated, or you are waiting for the day to end. These feelings are there when we don't get enough amount of sleep, and that can lead to overeating, over binging on the carbohydrate rich food, and that can again lead to the high spikes and high like fast lows into your blood sugar level, which can lead to hangriness. So make sure to follow these tips basically to improve on your let's say mood, to improve on your irritability if you're feeling hungry, and make sure to add good amount of healthy meals into your throughout your day. Next stage. Okay, this is a basic thing that how you will be, how you can maintain the healthy blood sugar levels. As I mentioned in the tips also, that eating balanced meal including protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, and fibers, all the things together will help us manage the sugar levels and keep the sugar levels steady in our body. It will give a steady supply to our brain of for the glucose levels, which will help our brain to, let's say, keep our mood well, we'll be able to concentrate well on our work, all these things. Then yes, staying hydrated is again important, because that is where your glucose is going to travel throughout your body. So make sure that you will have good amount of water, so that the glucose will travel in your body and it will reach each of your organ for the energy levels. Then yes, exercising regularly, again managing the stress levels, as we discussed, that high cortisol level can disrupt your sugar homeostasis, so that will have an impact on your sugar spikes, and it will lead to more irritability in future. So you can make sure, try and do some stress busting activities. You can do some meditation, some deep breathing exercises, or even listening to your favorite songs can be your best stress busting activity, which you can go ahead and do. So, and lastly, do not deprive yourself of sleep. Get a good amount of sleep, and make sure you will have good quality sleep instead of the quantities you are looking for. Okay, next session. Okay. This was all about the science of hangry that we saw. Now, a very important thing that we are moving ahead right now is fast moving products. Because if I see right now, in like overall everywhere, we keep on finding foods that are easy to make, which will which will have very lesser cooking time, which will save our time, and which we can give it to other things. But now we will see that what impact it has in on our let's say overall health and everything, and how we can go ahead and read the labels of packaged food, which will help us improve on our health. Next question. Okay. So what all challenges this packed food has? High unhealthy ingredients, okay? Lack of nutritional values. Then if you see the portions, the serving sizes, this can be over, like let's say oversized portion sizes as compared to the normal individual needs. The fourth challenge, which I feel important, is the claims that they put on the labels, the claims that we see on the labels. So most of the time we purchase the food, we just read the, I guess, front of that package, and it is mentioned there, no sugar, no sugar added. So we take it, right? We usually bring that to home, and then have you ever wondered if that is no sugar added? So for example, I'll give you an example of muesli. Okay, so if you see a muesli which is claimed as no sugar added, you'll bring it home, right? But when you eat it, it is still sweet, right? So where is that sweetness coming from? Have you ever wondered that? That if it is mentioned no sugar, why the muesli is sweet? Have you ever seen, observed anything like that? You can just reply yes or no into the messages. Yes, you have seen that. Why? Because your sugar does not only have the name sugar. It can be a form of hidden sugar into that product. And that can be sucralose, that can be fructose, that can be fructooligosaccharides, that can be maltodextrins, many names, many. If you tell me, I can give you 40 names of these, right? Because it has that much names to that particular sugar. Or they even mention sweetener with a code. Okay, you can Google that code on the Google. You will get the name of that particular sweetener, what is added in that. But there is a sweetener into that particular food. It is not just no sugar. It has a hidden sweetener into it. Many a times we see claims as no added salt or low calorie. So basically, when they say low salt, what we have to look for is the particular food should have less than 120 mg of sodium per 100 grams. That is low salt product. Okay. And when we see low calorie, the product usually contains some alternative sweeteners and may also be low in fat, but that sweetener can give you a sugar spike as well. So this is very important. So you have to make sure that you will check all the things on the label. Next slide, please. Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that you will check all the things on the label. Please carefully read all the ingredients because that has everything mentioned into it, that it has all-purpose flour. Or if you say, for example, I'll give you an example of brown bread. So brown bread, if you see the ingredients, we take brown bread, chalo whole wheat ka bread hai, kha lenge, healthy hai as compared to maida. The best thing to do is good alternative for the white bread. But have you seen the label? उस पे लेबल के पीछे have you seen the ingredients? Look at the ingredients. The ingredients are always mentioned is जो सबसे ज्यादा used है in that product is the first thing that comes. And जो सबसे lesser amount में used है is the last thing that comes. ठीक है? So first thing on your all brown breads are all-purpose flour. That is our maida, refined flour. Right? And then other things come and look at the percentage that they mention onto the label. Okay, so that is very important while reading the label, how you are reading the ingredients. First thing, अगर हमारे let's say first thing में all purpose flour है, the first name that is mentioned, the product is not good for us. If there is sweetener mentioned, fructooligosaccharides, maltodextrins, ऐसे कुछ नाम है that had sugar into it, right? Then check the nutritional facts for the calories, for the serving sizes, for the sugars, and for the sodium content, right? And then find the food that has whole foods into it. So claims मैंने आपको अभी बता दिया. I'll give you some more claims that is mentioned on our foods, that is high in fiber. So high in fiber का example, I'll give you the NutriChoice biscuits. They claim it as high in fiber, but check if it contains per serving more than 4 grams of fiber or not. That is very important to check when it claims high fiber. Then no added salt, we discussed low salt, we discussed low calorie, we discussed no added sugar, भी हमने discuss कर लिया. So there are products that also came low fat. So low fat में हमको क्या देखना है? The food that must contain not more than 3 grams of fat per 100 grams of food. That is your low fat food. Okay? And many a times this light thing is there in our claims. So, सब जगह पे आता है light. So, what is light? This may refer to the reduced content of that particular nutrient, but may also be used to describe the taste, texture and color. ठीक है? मतलब सारी चीजें अगर light है तो अच्छी है, ऐसी नहीं है. Okay, it can just describe the texture of that particular food, the color of that particular food, and the taste of that particular food. The nutrients might be same as the normal. Okay, so that one thing we'll have to understand. So when we go ahead and have no added ice creams right now is the one thing that many people says that, yeah, we had ice cream, but it was no added sugar. It was sugarless, but it has a sweetener into it. It has a sugar substitute into it. So look for that also and look for if that sweetener is giving you a spike or not. So that is very important to go ahead and, figure out nowadays when you're going for any packaged food. Next, Jayesh. Next slide, Jayashree. Yeah.
Yeah, can you see?
Yes, now I can see. Again, the same thing as mentioned here, that what all things are nutritional fact give us a serving size of that particular food. Okay? How much calorie per serving you are getting and how much macronutrients per serving you are getting. Even there are micronutrients also mentioned. So my take on packaged food would be it is better to have home cooked food rather than going with any packed food. So even if you have a small bowl of, let's say, cut vegetable, if you don't have much time in your hand for that day for the breakfast, just go ahead and have some vegetables. That is completely fine. But as much as possible, guys, avoid having this packed food, because that is where we are getting all our, let's say, sugars. That is where we are getting for all our refined carbohydrates, and that is how our sugars are getting spiked a lot. Next stage. So what this let's say packed food might have impacts on our body in long term is obviously obesity, because all-purpose flour, sugar, salt, so high sodium, everything is high. Then once the obesity is there, it can further lead to chronic diseases, and it can further lead to nutrient deficiencies because we are not getting any quality nutrient for this packaged food. So that is completely like again, as I said, make sure to have home cooked food. Make sure to, as much as home cooked you are eating, you are healthy, happy, and you are going to be healthy for a longer time. So that's the one takeaway from my side on this FMCG thing. Next stage. Yes, what healthy alternatives we can find out for this packaged food is if you are having sugary sodas, unsweetened sparkling waters, fresh fruit infused water. We are not saying fresh fruit juice, fresh fruit infused water that you can do. Then chips and crackers can be swapped with whole grain crackers, fresh vegetables, or air popcorns. Then processed snacks can be swapped with energy bars like oats, nuts, and dried fruits. As we discussed in the start, that dry fruits, dates and figs with added some nuts and seeds, we can make a bar out of it. That would be the good thing to go ahead with if we have to swap the processed snacks bar. So I have tried to give you some alternatives here. Try and make sure that you will find alternatives for each and everything which is packed nowadays. Next session. I guess,
We have
yeah.
come to the end of the session.
So this was it for the hangry, food coma, and food labels. It might be overwhelming for few of you because we have tried to give you as much
A
as
lot of
information,
information at one go.
yeah, as much as information we can. But now, yeah, we are ready for your question answers. You can pour in. I can see that Jayashree is already answering few in the
I
chats.
know, because there were a lot of questions, and I thought, like, let's utilize the meantime when you're taking in the session.
So, can we have bread baked at home with whole wheat flour? If you are making it at home, yes, go ahead and do that because that's the healthiest alternative, I feel.
Can we have sparkling water? Absolutely, yes, Mahalakshmi ma'am. That's not a wrong thing. Definitely, you can go along with your still water, sparkling water, your mineral-based water. Great choice. That's not going to cause any difficulties or any issues for your health. Omelette for your breakfast. Absolutely a great choice. But what you can do here is, along with your omelette, since it is a protein base, add in good amount of vegetables to it. You can add in a little bit of your onion, tomatoes, broccoli, spinach. You can take it into a good combination and you can have it.
Can we have cornflakes with milk for breakfast with raw vegetables such as carrots? So, Dinkaranji, cornflakes again comes from a packaged food. Corns are high in glycemic index, and if you have cornflakes, even if you say no sugar or plain, that is going to give you a spike. So, my call on would be on cornflakes is better to avoid it and swap it with some healthier or home cooked alternatives.
Absolutely. I think you can go along with your rolled oats over here, adding in good amount of vegetables rather than adding milk in the morning. You can make it like a khichdi base. That would be a great choice.
Yes. Or curd rice like thing.
Absolutely.
That's the new recipe I saw, guys.
You can actually make curd rice with millets as well. There are so
Yeah.
many great recipes and it actually tastes good, Anuja.
Yeah. The
Tried it
oat oats
myself as
things, I
well.
tried it myself, so I liked it a
Mm.
lot. Then,
There's another question in terms of alkaline water being beneficial. Hey, it is definitely beneficial, but what you can do it rather than rather than getting in the alkaline based water from
make
outside, because they're quite very expensive, right? You can definitely make it at home. Very
yes.
simple. You can try to add in good portion of your lemon, your mint, your cucumber. You can add it up. You can take it. Another source is also where I've been seeing where they actually add baking soda to it, just a pinch of it. And that not on a daily basis that you can take, weekly once or twice, that's absolutely a good go that you can introduce.
Then Krishnan is asking, could you define grains which we can have instead of rice? So Krishnan, you can go ahead with any millet here, maybe some quinoa or some kudo millet or some, let's say, jawar bajra, anything. Any millet can be eaten instead of rice. That's completely fine.
All right. There's another question in terms of Ranjit ji who's mentioning that can we have mutton? Now, mutton ideally is going to be a red meat category, right? So anything in the red meat category, they have a high content of your saturated fat, right? So if you're taking it on a weekly basis, that's something that we would not advise. But let's try bringing down the frequency once or twice in a month. That's a good choice, but not regularly.
Yes. So Vandana is asking, can we have millet khichdi in breakfast? I guess it is safe to have millet khichdi in breakfast. No issues. You can go ahead.
But make sure that you're adding in a good amount of your
Oh,
proteins and vegetables.
coming
ये
to that,
combination होनी चाहिए.
make sure that you will add good amount of protein and fiber with that. Then,
Oh, that's
yeah,
another question, but I'm not able to understand. Can we have puja for breakfast?
can we have
Puja for breakfast.
poha? Poha.
अच्छा, okay, पोहा हो सकती है. Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
हाँ,
Uh,
right. Poha is not such a good choice that we would ideally say, but poha अगर आप बना रहे हैं, let's try to keep in a proportion a little bit lower, trying to add an equal proportion of vegetables. And you can do one good thing that I ideally advise, adding 2 fistful of sprouts to it,
yes.
or
I use
maybe 2 boiled eggs, white eggs that can be actually added. That's a good choice here.
and if you don't want to have sprouts as a separate base, mix it in your poha. That is also completely fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steel cut oats, absolutely a great choice. Rolled oats, steel cut oats are a great choice. Alternative to your instant oats. Please to avoid taking in this instant oats because they are really flat. And as you add in hot water or milk, it's being cooked. That's why it's called instant oats.
Dinkaran is asking, can we have two urad vada excluding idli with sambar for breakfast? So Dinkaran, first thing is that is a deep fried thing. No nutrients benefits that we are getting. We are just getting whole lot of saturated fats from that and some protein from your sambar that you are getting. So idli is the healthiest option as compared to the vada. So my suggestion would be go ahead and have the steamed food rather than going up with the deep fried thing.
Absolutely. There's also a very nice question in terms of coconut water.
Yeah.
In terms of hydration, I think coconut water, people considered it as a very safe option. But we also need to remember your tender coconut water has a slightly moderate glycemic index. And also, they are going to be high in terms of your potassium levels. So, it's not advisable to take it on a daily basis. You can try keeping it twice maximum in a week. A good choice. And always having a check of the quantity that you're taking. Let's not take in the entire yield. आप निकाल लीजिए एक ग्लास पानी में लाइक इन एक ग्लास ऑफ वाटर और इन एक ग्लास आप मेजर कर लीजिए हाउ मच इट इज एक्चुअली बीइंग टेकन so 150 ml is something that we all actually advise 150 to 200 ml.
Yes, Lakshmi is again asking, is muesli okay for breakfast? So for muesli, cornflakes, everything is same. I just suggested you can swap that with the whole oats. That's the better option to do. Then, okay,
And we use
Ranjit,
makka roti. Makkah,
okay.
again, it is going to be a high glycemic index. Makkah is nothing but your corn. And if you're making in this makkah roti, it can be having a better alternative for your besan roti. Chana roti would be a better choice.
Then can we only have sprouts in the breakfast? Yes, Ranjiji, you can go ahead and have only sprouts in the breakfast because that's like as a vegetarian, I can tell you that that's a wholesome meal because that is giving you carbs, proteins, and everything. Add some vegetables to it for the fibers, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. That's a nice question in terms of banana stem. Ideally, in the south, I'm pretty much sure now everywhere in India, banana stem is a great option in terms
Right.
of your fiber. You can definitely add it. What you can do is there's a really nice recipe in the south. What we do, valat under kutu. What they do is they take in this banana stem along with a little portion of coconut. So coconut being a good source of your healthy fat and your fiber, and again your banana stem is again a good source of your fiber. These two combination works really well in terms of introducing good amount of your fiber in your diet.
Yes. Then broken wheat sweet
Yes,
potato
yes.
is good. So as compared to potato, sweet potato is a better option, I can say. But yes, it has same carbohydrate. So my take on that would be if you're having sweet potatoes, please don't have any other carbohydrate source in that particular meal because that is a carbohydrate rich food and that will take care of your carbohydrate intake. And broken wheat, yeah, you can go ahead and have it, but again with some good amount of proteins and fibers, obviously.
Absolutely. Subway sandwiches. There's a question in terms of Subway sandwiches. Now, over here, if you're going to Subway, you would be able to see in different types of your sandwiches, different types of your bread that is there. Try opting for the whole grain, but we are not so very sure how much of the whole grain percentage is there, right? Also, a good option is the salad. The salad is a good choice here. Okay.
Yes.
Try doing one thing, which I also personally do, opt for all of the vegetables. Just select all of the vegetables and be very particular in terms of the sauces, the ketchup.
Possibilities. Because it has mayos into it. Yeah.
Exactly, correct.
Then is bajra roti or bajra dalia good? Yes, bajra is good. Again, with some guys, the questions are like for upma bajra, I'll tell you overall that it is good to have, but it is important to combine it with good amount of protein and good amount of fiber. 50% of your plate should be of vegetables, 25% of protein intake, and 25% of your bajra, upma, poha, all these things which you are talking about, so that it will not give you a sugar spike. Okay, or the sugar spike will be lesser. Okay.
That's a question in terms of again coconut water being harmful for the kidneys. Again, this is all about the proportion that we take. Let's not take it on a daily basis. They're going to have high content of your potassium levels. Okay. It's not only risky in terms अगर आपका potassium levels goes beyond the higher content, it is going to cause arrhythmia, जहाँ पर आपका irregular heartbeat होती है. Okay. So once or twice in a week, absolutely a good go. Again, having a check in terms of your quantity. That's what is important.
Then Ranjit is asking, can we have homemade wheat bread sandwich? If you are making bread at home, yes, completely fine. But if you are again bringing bread from outside, just check which bread you are using, and then that will have a good sugar spike in your body.
Also, in terms of bread, I think there's another good choice. You can go along with your sourdough bread. This is
Yes.
a good choice. Agar we are going to the bakery, having a check of it, यहाँ पर different types of your bread you are getting. Sourdough bread is a great option along with your whole wheat bread. You can opt for it.
But it takes like, especially for sourdough bread, if you're new to that particular bread, it takes time for
Time
you
for adjusting.
that palatability of the or the taste of that bread. But once you get used to it, that's the healthiest option you can go ahead with. Then after lunch, we again feel hungry at 4 to 5 p.m. So what to eat? So during my suggestions between the meals would be try and find some snacks that are high in protein and high in healthy fats rather than going up with the high in carbohydrate snacks. So if you still want to have a little carbohydrate, go ahead and have one fruit with some nuts. That's a good option, or nut butter, that's a good option. Otherwise, some bhuna chana or some roasted nuts such things will be the better option for you to snack on. Or if you're a lot more hungry, again, having a little sprouts in the snacks would be also a good option.
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of questions in terms of fruits itself, specifically banana.
Yeah.
Right. So, Mr. Prasad is actually asking, one yellow banana which is ripe per day spikes sugar levels.
Hmm.
Absolutely any fruit that is completely ripened will give you a spike. Okay. Always make sure any fruit that you take, it is in a semi-ripened consistency. मतलब बहुत ज्यादा ripe भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बहुत ज्यादा कच्चा भी नहीं होना चाहिए. Let's keep it in the mid consistency. So at that point of time, even if you're taking in a banana, a small banana would be a good choice. But again, pair it up along with your nuts and seeds. So whenever you're taking in a fruit, pairing is something that is important here. That way we can try to have in a good balance.
Yes. Is hummus in the salad box perfect? Not just okay, perfect. You
Perfect.
can go ahead and have hummus as a, it will give you a protein. It is also good in snacks, guys. If you
Absolutely.
keep it ready and you can just chop some vegetables and have it with hummus, it can be a good snacks option.
And one small trick that we can try doing here, which I also personally do it, your sesame seeds, jo hai, right? You can just add in a little bit of your olive oil, blend it up and add it to the hummus. Taste wonderful. And thoda sa you can just squeeze in a little bit of lemon to it.
Yes,
So it
that
has in
gives
a
you
great
a
taste.
feeling. Yeah, that gives you a feeling of tahini too.
Exactly.
Then,
STB. I think it's sourdough bread, what she's actually mentioning. Yes.
huh,
Made from wheat or maida. It's completely wheat. It's completely going to be in the term of processed. In terms of your fermented, it's highly fermented. So easily it gives in a lower content of your sugar spike. It's not maida.
Lakshmi ji is asking, can we eat every 2 hours interval? So it totally depends on how your sugars are doing, Lakshmi ji. If your body needs that you should eat every 2 hours, you can. But if there is no need, not necessarily that we have to eat every 2 hours.
So, Mr. Krishnan is asking about the recipes. Yes, there are a lot of recipes. You can definitely ask your health coaches. We will
Yes.
also be sharing it to you, and this will be circulated in the entire group. So, you can definitely ask your health coach on the same.
So DS Prasad Jayashree is asking, he has missed the juices you mentioned, like jeera water. What all things you
Acha,
meant?
got it,
Uh,
got it. So, in terms of your digestive aids, jeera water, number one good choice. Ginger water is a good choice. Your cinnamon water, your fennel seeds. What you can do is your sauce and jeera also, you can just roast it up and keep it in the powdered form. And post your meal, just boil in a little portion of your water, just add to it and you can take it. This works really well in terms of your post digestion aid and also helps in terms of reducing the food coma. Great choice here.
Then someone is asking milk for night. So milk basically has again lactose into it, which again is going to get converted into glucose, and that will have a impact on your blood sugar levels. So plain milk, as of now, having at night is big no for me right now. If you want to have something, go ahead and have some let's say some nuts before you sleep, and that will not impact on your blood sugar levels.
Absolutely. Again, there are questions in terms of the milk intake. Always we need to be remembering few things. Tea taking 3 to 4 times in a day. Again, what kind of tea are you taking? Is it the milk-based tea or is it the plain, the normal black tea, black coffee? We'll have to have in a check. Make sure that you're not overdoing your milk intake also on a daily basis. 150 ml is something that we always advise in terms of recommendation. But try opting for your black tea, your green tea, try introducing them so that the frequency of your milk tea slowly starts dropping down. Because milk, after all, this is also going to contain carbohydrates, which has an the effect in terms of shooting in the sugar levels, as Anuja mentioned.
Yes. I guess milk tea. Are you mentioning? Will intermittent fasting help in controlling sugar levels? Our experience with intermittent fasting, yes, it does help in controlling sugar levels, but how much hour of fasting you need, you have to discuss that with your coach, because your coach knows your body better, that how frequently you eat, where is your main hunger pang and everything. Your coach has a better idea about it.
Absolutely.
Then ACB increases acid. What ACB is like?
I think ACV, apple cider vinegar, is
Huh.
good. Uh,
Okay, it increases acid, what to consume to neutralize the same. So it's not basically it helps improving the stomach acid, digestive acids, but it will not increase the acidity as such. And when you
okay,
are get like taking it diluted, it will not increase the acidity.
that's what. Always make sure that you're just adding 1 teaspoon to max 2 teaspoons in an entire glass of your water. There has to be a tall glass of your water so that it has a proper maintenance, because your apple cider vinegar has a great benefit in terms of having in your fat burning metabolism and brings and curbs down your post meal sugar spikes. Great choice, and we always advise it.
Okay. Someone is asking black coffee or black tea. Yeah, you answered it. Both are the
Both are
great choice.
great choices. Yes.
Because it has no calories, you can go ahead with it. Just don't add any sugar into it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or what you can do is you can just add in a pinch of your cinnamon powder also to it.
Yes.
Great choice if you want in a little sweetness taste. There's
Yeah.
also another question with cinnamon water. Absolutely, you can definitely go ahead along with it.
Yes. Girnar detox tea is good for diabetes. So if you're talking about the green tea, Girnar, I have used it, so it has no added sugar into it. Detox tea, I'm not sure of. I guess it will not have any sugar. We have
I've
to
not
check.
heard about it, Anuja.
I have heard about Girnar's green tea, not the detox tea. I have
Mm-hmm.
used the green tea. So that's, I know.
Now, there's another question in terms of ulcer person can have ACV. Here, we'll have to remember one thing. You should not have it on an empty stomach. Okay. And always for work in terms of your dilution, having a check in terms of your dilution factor. Start along with an entire glass of your water, half a teaspoon, then 1 teaspoon max. Okay. But let's not overdo it again over here. Otherwise, it's okay. You don't have to take it in the over high concentration form.
Yes. At what time we should take apple cider vinegar? So, Vandanaji, the best time to take apple cider is before the meals, because the acetic acid from that apple cider will help us improve our post-meal sugar levels. So, 1 teaspoon in good amount of water diluted, you can take it 10-15 minutes before to your meal. That is completely fine. So, please name fat we can have. So seeds, as in you can go ahead with pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds. Did I left any seed? I
Flax
guess
seeds, chia seed, watermelon seeds. There are various and numerous amount of seeds that we have.
yes. Okay. Then can we use electronic rice cooker for cooking rice? I guess yes. Why not?
No, ideally the best method in terms of cooking rice is always draining of the starch.
Yeah.
Are you using electric cooker, rice cooker, your pressure cooker, you are actually preserving the starch in the rice. तो वो बाहर निकलती ही नहीं है. Right? So always the best foremost method is to try using in your boiling technique, remove the starch, and then you can try having it. Fermented rice is a great option.
Great option.
Absolutely.
Then what is, does chia water help in anything? And best way to have it. So chia seeds, you can soak it overnight in water and have it the next day. It helps you stay fuller for a longer time because it has good amount of fiber. It helps you to improve on your digestion levels, obviously, and it also helps you to improve on your sugar levels.
So somebody has actually posted the picture of that.
Yeah,
It's
that Girnar
so
detox tea.
nice. Okay. So we can definitely have in a check of this in terms of
It's
the
a green tea.
ingredients.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a green tea. So yeah, it is good to have. It will not have any calories as such.
Perfect. Perfect. So yes, I think we have answered most of the questions, right,
Yes.
Anuja?
Yeah, most of them.
Right.
So, how did you find this session, guys? Please let us know. If you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to us or your coaches for that matter. They are there to help you in each and every solutions.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining the session. It was a wonderful session, in fact. So any other issues or any other doubts, as Anuja has mentioned, do feel to reach out to us or also our coaches, that we are
Yes.
having a healthy lifestyle. Healthy routine is what we always be focusing on.
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you
Anisha
so
and
much.
Jayashree. I think it was a wonderful session. Thanks everyone for joining in on Sunday morning. Wishing you all a very happy day ahead. Stay healthy. Please keep sharing your plate pictures on the premium group. I hope you got to learn something new. There were a lot of interesting topics being covered up in today's session, and the entire logic behind this is to continue eating healthy. So please take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay fit, and if you need any help, please reach out to us on the premium group. You can tag me as @Neha Kapoor, and I will be available. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thanks, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neha.